today, tomorrow, and Thursday are unique days in the Jewish calendar. And the reason is, the only time we find that there's 3 days in a row that there's an Indian to fast. We do fast, but in the Mechaber at Sim Tov Kuf Pei, at the end of Hilchos Tainis, the Mechaber goes through Yomim Shem Mis'anim Behem, days that we fast. And it goes through in Siv Beis a whole list of days that most of the days we're not familiar with, that Yechidim fast. People who could fast, and I mean the Rishit today really is going to be on Hilchos Tainis, fasting itself. But before I'm going to go a little bit into this. And today we don't fast all these days. I mean the Messiah says people today are weaker than they used to be. So therefore there's a lot of coolest in Hilchos Tainis. One of the coolest in Hilchos Tainis is that all these days that people used to fast, today you don't find too many people fasting on those days.
Are there some people that do fast?
There are some people, yeah. There are some people still fast all these days, brought down the halacha. And these 3 days the only time you have 3 days in a row that there is to fast is Ches Teves, Tes Teves, and Yud Teves. It's the only time you have 3 days in a row that's brought in the halacha that there's Indian to fast. Now on Ches Teves, it says in the Mechaber, B'Ches B'Teves, Nichteva Torah Yevonis, B'Yimei Talmei HaMelech, V'Yechoshech Ba'olim Gimel Yom. In Ches Teves, there's a Gemara in Megillah, we'll get to it soon, that on Ches Teves, Talmei HaMelech asked the Shivim Zakanim to translate the Torah into Greek.
I was 72.
Shivim Stein? I think it's Shivim. And we'll see the Gemara soon.
I read 72.
I think it was 70. We'll see the Gemara in a second.
I read 72.
So was 70 language.
Shivim Mishnayim, yep. Shivim Mishnayim is Zakanim.
Hey guys, not bad.
And it's on tape too.
And that was one thing. We'll see in a second what it means. And V'tes boy, the Mechaber says V'tes boy, Loi noida eze hi atzara she'ira boy. On the 9th day, which is tomorrow, we know we fast. Says the Mechaber, we don't know why we fast. That's what the Mechaber says. There was some tzara that happened, but we don't know why we fast.
Because Ezra died.
Oh, so right away, the Mefarshei HaShulchan Aruch say, but we don't know why. The reason why we fast on the 9th of Tevet is because that's the day that Ezra HaSefer died. That's what they say. And if you look in the Slichos that we say on Asara B'Teves, it says the reason why we fast on Tes B'Teves is because that was the day that Ezra HaSefer died. If you look in the Slichos, we say that most unfortunate Slichos we don't really know what we're talking about, but maybe now you'll understand. At least one of the Slichos that we'll say on Thursday. The Slichos says Eskura Matzah Keshekrani B'Sholish Makos B'Chodesh Azeh Kani. With 3 makos who were hit in this Chodesh, Gedani, Hiniani, Hichiani, Ach Ata Hiliani. So we'll get to all of them in a second. But it says in the Slicha, the Amti B'Tisha Boy B'Chlimo B'Chefer Chosach Me'alai Me'il Hoyd V'Tzefer Torayv Toraf Boy Hanoisen Imrei Shefer Hu Ezra HaSefer. On the 9th day, Torah Termita was killed. Ezra HaSefer on the 9th day of Shvat is his Yortzeit. That's why we fast. Died, I mean. On the 9th day of Teves is why we fast on the 9th day of Teves, because Ezra HaSefer died that day. The question is, the Taz right away says in the Mechaber, what do you mean we don't know why? Go look in Slichos. Slichos was written before the Mechaber's times. So the Mechaber says the day we don't know why we fast. The Toma says the Taz, so to me why the Shulchan Aruch says he doesn't know what it is. He says everybody knows the reason why you fast is because of Ezra HaSefer. A lot was written about this, and a lot of terutzim that was said that there's a reason why the 9th day there's a fast, and we don't want to be megala why it is that way. There's a lot said about Tes B'Teves, which is tomorrow. We're going to start off talking about Ches B'Teves, which is today. So what happened to Ches B'Teves? What was the big tragedy in Klal Yisrael? The Gemara in Megillah says, Mishmaisa Talmi Amelach Atanya Maisa B'Talmi Amelach Shekina Shivim V'Shnayim Zekena V'Chnisa V'Shivim V'Shnayim Batim V'Lagil Lehem Ama Kinsam. He didn't tell them why he gathered them in. V'Nichnas Eitza Kol Echad V'Echad V'Amar Lehem Kisvuli Teiras Moshe. Write to me the Teiras Moshe. Write over to me. Translate to me Teiras Moshe. Moshe Rabchem. And Nasan HaKadosh Baruch Hu Leiv Kol Echad V'Echad Eitza V'Skimu Kula V'Das Achas. It's very famous that they changed a bunch of things in the Torah, that all 72 changed the same exact things. The Gemara gives a bunch of examples over here in the Gemara Megillah of Testament Aleph. One of the examples is they wrote Elakim Bara Bereshis, not Bereshis Bara Elakim. You shouldn't make a mistake that there are two people who created the world. There's a bunch of different things. One of them was that at the end it says over here, they took Esther Neves. The wife of Talmai's name was Neves. Now Neves is one of the behemoths who are not allowed to eat. So they took it out. There was a bunch of things that they changed that they shouldn't get into trouble. And it was a mess that all 72 changed the same exact things. That's what happened. But it says that after that day, Yordu Choshech La'olam, for 3 days, there was Choshech in the world. And the obvious question is, what happened? If there was such a nisim that happened, then obviously it was a good thing. So why was it Yordu Choshech La'olam Gimel Yom? So they translated the Torah into Greek. So what's wrong? Something so bad with ArtScroll? ArtScroll is taking the Torah and translating it into English.
They have the Hebrew side.
It's not the Hebrew side.
No, even more so. Greek is Adi.
And Greek is Adif even. Yeah, Greek is one of the Lashonis, Ivanis, is one of the Lashonis allowed to write the same Torah.
Yeah, but when did that happen? Before or after this whole incident that Greek was accepted as a...
Yeah, but you have to look at the Yefes. It starts from the Torah. There's a Makar in the Torah for it. There's a Makar in the Torah for you have to look at the Yefes. So what happened? What was Yod Choshech La'olam for Gimel Yomim? Because they translated the Torah into Greek. So I'll tell you what the Achronim say. The Achronim say, some Sefer asked the Kasha, and he says there was such nisim that happened, so what's wrong? And basically what he says is, which is said we have to remember, it's Ches Tevet today, we have to realize what happened on today. He says like this, that the Torah that we have, we understand Torah is given Sinai. We understand Chazal came Torah Shabbat Peh afterwards, and they said certain things in the Torah. They translated certain things. They were medayik certain things in the Psukim. And they came out with certain maskonos, Chazal. We know, as Klal Yisrael, that Divrei Chazal cannot be moved, cannot be touched. It's undebatable. Whatever it says in the Chazal, whatever it says in the Gemara, we know is undebatable. It's not up for debate. By translating the Torah, there's nothing wrong if we translate the Torah and we keep it to ourselves, so we can understand it better. That's a great thing. Today, with the translations of all the different types of Sfarim we have today, it's easier for people to learn. It's a gewaldige thing to translate into English all the whatever you could in order that we should understand what we're talking about. But what happened with Talmai HaMelech was, Talmai HaMelech wanted to translate it into Yavanis, into Greek, so he could take it and put it amongst all the other writings of the time. And go ahead. Now it's open for everybody to go ahead and look at the Torah and to translate it as they wish. For that was Yad Choshech Leil. To go ahead and give the Torah to people who don't understand that every word in the Torah is Kodesh V'Tar, every single tag on a Yud is Kodesh V'Tar, is there for a reason. We understand that. We can translate it and we understand how to look at the Torah. But if you're giving it to other people and they don't agree to that, so what there's a translation, they see in Greek, this is what it means, and they'll go ahead and they'll say, oh, this may not be true, this may yet be true, and right away they go ahead and they start arguing on things that we have the Kabbalah from Divrei Chazal. That's what happened with the Tzadikim. They went ahead, they argued Divrei Chazal. To go ahead and translate the Torah, and not to realize that Divrei Chazal, everything the Chazal say is Kodesh V'Tahar, that's already Yod Choshech Leil.
Was it also a problem that you translated and they made a few corrections, and those corrections were dispersed among the people?
It wasn't about, you don't,
basically it wasn't corrected. The Torah wasn't correct.
It could be. You don't see that the corrections were the issue. You don't see that. You see, the fact that it was translated is an issue. And the reason is because the aside from that, from Ches Tevet is that Torah is not debatable. Torah is not up for debate. We don't go out and try to sell it to the goyim, and we don't debate it with the goyim. We don't go ahead into the goyish places and debate it. Torah is true, Torah is not true. Of course, anybody who wants to go ahead, they could understand Torah the way they want. But we know, we learn the Torah, we understand something a certain way. If we open the Gemara and we see Chazal understood differently, we're finished. Whatever Chazal says, we stay with. If you learn Torah that way, then you can translate it. But if you learn Torah as a subject, which is what Talmud HaMelech wanted to do, that's already Asr. Torah is not a subject. Torah is Torah Sinai. We learn it to understand what the Eibishter wants from us, not more than that. It's not a subject. I'll tell you something which is very interesting. That it happens to be that Yemi today is starting Perik Ha'isha Rabbah. Perik Ha'isha Rabbah and Dafyemi in Yevamis is a perik about Agunis. About Agunis. Now, we all know that if someone unfortunately lost the husband went missing, the wife is an Aguna and she can't get remarried unless we know for sure the husband's dead. If you don't know for sure the husband's dead, they can't get remarried. After the war, World War II, there were a lot of Aguna shaylas. A lot of questions of Agunas. People didn't know. They saw the husband. Some people have seen. Some people could witness. They saw him getting shot. They didn't know if he died or not. What's the halacha? When could you be matir? When you can't be matir? Agunas, the big shayla, was a big question after the war, and most of Rabbanim didn't want to get involved because the matir Aguna. What happens is she gets married, and the husband's still alive. The kids are mamzer. So most of the Rabbanim didn't want to get involved. And Moshe Feinstein was famous that he got involved in the Aguna shaylas right after the war, and he passed in the Aguna shaylas. There's a famous ma'aseh with Moshe Feinstein that after the Mechama, a lady came to him and she told him the story of what happened, why she believes her husband is dead. And Moshe listened to the story, and Moshe said, appear that she could go ahead and get married. It's enough of an edus. In today's blog, you'll see that you could rely even on the lady herself to be matter her l'shuk, to marry somebody else. Eid echad is ne'eman. One eid is ne'eman. Even though all over the Torah you have to have two eidim. Here eid echad is enough. So Moshe listened to the story and said, "Mutter l'shuk, you get married." She went ahead. She got married. After a while, it wasn't going so well. The marriage wasn't going so well. The marriage wasn't going so well. Now she had a choice. She could tell the husband, "Listen, it's not going well. I want out." Then the husband give her a problem. "You want out? Okay, you give you a get, but I want this amount of money." You know, as unfortunately we know how the fighting starts. So she thought of a moedical plan. What was her plan? She decided to go back to the Moshe Feinstein, who was matir, and say to him, "You know, the story that I told you about my husband wasn't really true. I made it up. So really, I can't get married." And then she'll be mutter. She won't be, and she'll be finished with the husband. The husband will have to give her a get misafik, and once she got that get misafik, she thought she'll be able to go ahead and she'll be free again. So
she'll be also again, everybody.
No,
yeah, but once she gets the get.
No, just her previous husband if he's alive.
Yeah,
but if the story was false,
if the false story, then her original husband is still alive.
Right. But she wanted to get a get from her husband.
Yeah.
So what did she do? She went to the Moshe. Moshe would say that her husband may be still alive, the original husband.
Yeah.
So therefore, the second husband has to give her a get misafik.
Right, but now she can't get married to anybody. Now.
But then she'll tell the truth afterwards. After she has to get it in the pocket.
Oh, she'll go back to the original story.
Yeah, I'll say it's not true.
Okay.
Yeah. She'll go back to the original story.
She'll go back and forth.
So she went to the Moshe Feinstein with the story and told the Moshe, she was telling Moshe, "I'm sorry, but I lied to you." So Moshe Feinstein got very upset. And you heard the story?
No, I can imagine.
And the Moshe Feinstein got up and he's very upset. He says, "You sent a liganer. You're lying." She says, "I'm telling you, I made up a story." He says, "You sent a liganer. Is then you're a liar. It's not true." So after a while, she realized she's not getting in with her Moshe. She says, "You're right. I'm a liar." How do you know? So the Moshe said that before he passed in the Aguna shaylas, after the war, he sat there and learned Masechtas Yevamis 40 times. 40 times learned Masechtas Yevamis before he passed in the Aguna shaylas. I learned the Torah, I learned Yevamis, now I have to pass in the shaylas. It's for Aguna shaylas. It's not just clear cut halacha. There's a lot more than that. You have to hear the story. You have to know what's true, what's not true. He says he had a certain siyata d'shmaya that every Aguna shayla that he passed was a correct psak. Now, if you're telling me that a paskin wrong, that means All my Gunas Teres Matzah could be wrong. It can't be. I'm sure that everything I paskin was 100% true. So Moshe Feinstein, the honor that Moshe Feinstein was, this is what he said. He said that the fact that I learned Yevamos 40 times, I wasn't learning a subject, it's more than that. I got a certain siyata d'shmaya from the Torah that I could go ahead and paskin in Gunish Haz and everyone should come correct. That's what he felt. That's not learning Torah just like a subject. That's translating it to Yevamos. Anybody wants to go look at it. That's learning Torah in a way that we realize what the Torah is all about, and they got a certain siyata d'shmaya. That was the Meister of Moshe Feinstein. I have to share with another Meister, which is a scarier Meister. Share with the Noid Yehuda. Also the same idea. The Noid Yehuda became Rav. Today we all know the Noid Yehuda is a going adir. You know, you see his svarim and everything. But when he became Rav in a certain city, there was certain misnagdim to him. They didn't appreciate. They didn't want him to be Rav. So there was a few people deciding to play a nasty trick on him. What was the trick? They were going to bring in a lady and say that her husband went someplace, and two witnesses come, a woman, whatever it was, and said that he's dead. And the Noid Yehuda would go ahead and be mad to her the shuk, be mad to get married, and then the husband will come on his 2 feet and say, "I'm here." Baharig Baraglo, as the Gemara says, "I'm here." And they'll say, "You see, Noid Yehuda, you paskin the Naguna's mutter, and you were wrong." That was the trick. They were going to play on him, and then once he paskin wrong, then we know what happens afterwards.
Is that a business?
It's downhill. So they went to the Noid Yehuda. The husband was waiting outside, and they went inside, the lady and the false witness, and told the whole story to the Noid Yehuda. And the Yehuda's listening to the false witness, and after a while he says, "Yeah, he must be dead. He just mutter to get married to the shuk." Paskin. They were all excited. They went outside. They get the guy, and the guy was dead. And the guy was dead. They didn't stop at the Noid Yehuda again.
That's real siyata d'shmaya.
That's right. It's most Shmaya. If you use the Torah the way it's supposed to, we learn it, we're supposed to learn the Torah, and everything Chazal say is Kaddish V'Tor, it's not a subject. Talmai HaMelech wanted to make Torah a subject. Torah is not a subject. If anybody thinks they go ahead and learn a Gemara and say, "Yeah, I could argue because I understand it differently," right away, it's not what Torah is all about. Chazal is not, it's undebatable. Whatever Chazal says is undebatable. If you feel you could debate it, then you have a wrong approach to learning Torah. These people learn Torah with the right approach. They had a certain chapter of the Shemaya. Anyway, that was a side thing before we get to halacha here. So that's Ches B'Tevis. Tomorrow is Tes B'Tevis, then you have a Sar B'Tevis. Sar B'Tevis, we all know, Nebuchadnezzar went ahead and surrounded it. Israel started the siege on Yerushalayim before the Churban Bayis. And therefore there's a tightness on a Sar B'Tevis. And in the Slichas of Sar B'Tevis, I wanted to share with you something else. It says in the Slichas over here that when it's translated, it says like this: Diachani b'shmoina boy smallest v'yimonis. On the 8th day, which is today, he hit us smallest, pushed us to the right and to the left. Umelech Yovan and Sani Lichtav Dasivonis. And the Melech Yovan, which was Talmai, made us right into Dasivonis. That's what the fast on the 8th day. The lashon of the Slicha is, he pushed us smallest v'yimonis, right and left. What does it mean, right and left? What's the remes to right and left? I think Pashup Pshat is, right and left means that we know the pasuk says, we spoke about it last week, that you have to listen to Divrei Chazal. Where does it say that? L'sasim ha'davar she'yagid lucha yamin usmail. Right? That's what it means to the Slicha. He didn't care about the yamin usmail. He didn't care that when Chazal say something, we listen to it no matter what. He pushed it away, this yamin usmail. If I understand it, good. If I don't understand it, I don't have to be meshubit to it. That was the problem with Talmai HaMelech translating the Torah into Yevonis. But I want to get to the halachas of a tinus. So, therefore, a Sar B'Tevis, we fast. Everyone fasts Sar B'Tevis. Ches and Tes is only Yechidin that fast, but on the Sar B'Tevis we all fast. Now, there's two things I want to speak about a fast day. One thing is that we tend to make a mistake that a tinus, a fast day, is a day we just don't eat and drink that day, and otherwise everything else is the same. So right away it says in halacha, if someone just doesn't eat and drink, he missed the boat. It's the day of tshuva. Kol ela yam kol yisrael mitzana behem ne'atzar shir behem. V'lechein chayiv kol ish lofsam al libay ba'oisen hayamim l'fashpesh b'maisav v'loshav behem. Ki ein ikar ha'tainitz k'mar shekosa ba'anshei nidvei v'yar Hashem es ma'aseyim v'amr chazal et sakah v'tanisam v'nemar ela es ma'aseyim v'ein etanis el achana l'tshuva. A tainus is a way of getting ourselves to think about tshuva. You don't eat, you don't drink, you could do tshuva. But not pshat, the whole thing of a tainus is not to eat and not to drink. The tainus is a time of doing tshuva. And now, when a tainus, we know a tainus starts in the morning, right? In the morning you don't eat, you don't drink. These days, it's kavaldik, it's the shortest days, so you can even get up in the morning at regular time and have your coffee and your cookies, and then first start the tainus. But we know there's halacha. If someone goes to sleep at night and he doesn't have in mind to eat in the morning, he doesn't have in mind. These days, times like today, like the Rabbi Tevet, everybody has in mind to drink coffee in the morning. Let's say a guy knows he's going to get up a little bit later, after the Zman, Achila. So he goes to sleep at night, he doesn't have in mind to eat in the morning. But he gets up early, he ends up getting up early. You see that eat or drink? Halacha is not allowed to. Unless you make a tanai before you go to sleep, that you want to eat when you get up in the morning, you're not allowed to eat and drink in the morning.
Is this for every tainus or just this one?
Every tainus. Every tainus. If you go to sleep at night and you don't make a tonight that you're going to eat in the morning, you're not allowed to eat in the morning.
How about your times if you wake up, you'll do it? Is that good enough for you?
Yeah, also. If I wake up, I'll eat. You have to say for sure you're going to eat. So the question is, why? What's the China? Why if the tainus doesn't start till whatever, 6:30 in the morning, right? Today days. So why do I have to make it tonight before? The answer is it's not true. The tainus starts from at night. A fast day, a Sarah B'Tevis this year, Wednesday night by Shkia starts a Sarah B'Tevis. And that day is a fast day. The halacha is that besides Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, we're not machmir not to eat the night before. They let us eat. They wouldn't be kabbalah not to eat the night before. But the tainus starts right away. As a matter of fact, the Gemara has a shayla. I think it's fine to do this. I think it's fine to do it today. The Gemara has a shayla. Find out what it's fine to do. Talk about the Mechav Paskin that way. The Gemara has a shayla. We know we say Aneinu in davening on a fast day. We say Aneinu by Mincha. The Shatz says Aneinu by Shachris already. The Sfardim, the Mechaber says, when did it start Aneinu?
Before.
On a fast it's always makabel, not part of the Arbet Saimis, something else. But about Arbet Saimis, Gama Yochid Oimroi B'chol Tfiloisov. In all his tefillahs we say Aneinu. That means Ma'ariv. Ma'ariv the night before, you say Aneinu according to the Sfardim.
How can you say Aneinu if you're not fasting?
Oh, how can you say Aneinu if you're not fasting? Who says Aneinu has to do with fasting? Who says Aneinu has to do with fasting? We Ashkenazim hold that you don't say Aneinu only by Mincha because then you fasted already most of the day, so you say Aneinu. But the Gemara has a question: is Aneinu totally in the fast or not? Not eating. So like so we hold Aneinu is a Mincha only, but the Sfardim say Aneinu already Ma'ariv before. Why? Because the night before is part of the fast. The fast starts already the night before, not the next morning. Not the next morning. We happen to be matter to eat and to drink, but therefore our father will say Aneinu, and if you didn't make it tonight before you went to sleep, you can't eat. Why? Because the fast really starts of a Jewish day starts from Shkia till Shkia. Asar B'Tevis is a fast day; it goes from Shkia to Shkia. So now l'may nafkamina, anywhere we eat, so there's two nafkaminas. One nafkamina that all the persons speak about is the night before when machman, when we make or we eat and drink. How about a chasana? Could you make a chasana tonight? Could you listen to music the night before? Could you listen to music with b'chlal on the times? So there's a bin halacha in Hilchas Tisha B'Av that says that we don't listen to music from Rosh Chodesh. Says the Bir Halacha, is a famous Bir Halacha. At the Tainus it says, "Matzah b'masa, matzah." We don't listen to music, no chasanas. Says the Bir Halacha, "Ve'efshir the yesh lahachmer b'yud zayin b'tamiz v'asara b'tevis k'moy m'Rosh Chodesh ad Tainus." On Yud Zayin b'Tammuz and Asar b'Tevis, which are two fasts, also because of the Korban bias, you should be machmir just like from Rosh Chodesh till the Tainus, which means we don't listen to music. You shouldn't listen to music on Shabbos b'Tammuz or Asar b'Tevis. The night before.
Is that a machlekes, or that's how we?
No, that's it brings down. The halacha brings it down. And in the Poskim it's brought down a big shayla. If someone's allowed to make a chasana the night before Asar b'Tevis, the night before Shabbos b'Tammuz. Shabbos b'Tammuz everybody knows about because you can't listen to music. How about Asar b'Tevis? So make a chasana on Wednesday night. A lot of the Poskim ask her.
Shever brachas even.
What Shever brachas?
What do you do about Shever brachas?
What do you do about Shever brachas?
We'll plan a wedding.
So you don't have to have music.
Fall out there. That's all.
You don't have to have music by Shever brachas.
Well,
That's true.
You don't have to have music by Shever brachas. You can have Shever brachas without music. The night before the fast, we have to remember, is like as part of the fast. As another nafkamina, we're matter to eat and drink. Now there's halacha, it's also very negaya. People who aren't fasting, kids, let's say, they're not fasting. Well, a lady is muberes, it's not fasting, right?
A lot of people think it's not such a serious fast. You don't have to fast.
That's Tavet. Yeah.
All the other fasts, besides.
Yeah, the truth is,
It's not for women, it's only for guys.
no, but for women it's something else. For women, you should know that for women fasting on Asar b'Tevis and Asar b'Tammuz, there's a lot of coolers.
Like cool.
A lot of coolers. Especially by the Chassidish Poskim. They're very, very maker about women fasting.
It's not so bad.
Now, but not all women. Women that can still carry babies. And the Poskim say that it says in halacha that a muberes, a menekes, don't have to fast. They don't have to fast on these tanesim. And if it's hard for them. And today we hold all muberes and menekes, it's hard for them and they shouldn't even try fasting at least tanesim. Shabbos b'Tammuz, Asar b'Tevis, Tanis Esther v'Shonat, some Gedalia, these tanesim they shouldn't fast. My grandmother used to say that in the Haim, out the Haim, ladies never fasted. Why? Either they're muberes, or they're menekes, and if you were known, you were stam sugar. Stam sugar now. So everyone fasted. That's what my grandmother used to say.
They're going to go home and tell that one. Yeah.
They never used to fast. But Diane Fisher was known for this. Diane Fisher was very, very famous for this. That he said that even if a lady is not pregnant, which is not a menekes, she's not nursing, they shouldn't fast because fasting weakens up the body. And even if they fasted when they're not carrying a child, they could be mapil, they could have a miscarriage because they fasted a few times. That's what Diane Fisher used to hold. He was very makel on ladies fasting. By the Chassidish Poskim, it's a very big cool. Ladies should not fast at all. By these tanesim.
So older ladies have a kid?
No, he said only ladies who could still carry kids.
But once you're older, then you
Once you're older, they don't have a heter. That's this heter.
That's
Ladies who carry. Yeah. That was the heter, but Chassidish Poskim you find it a lot. They're very making on ladies fasting. But when ladies aren't fasting, kids who aren't fasting, there's a halacha that they shouldn't go ahead and just eat everything. They should also be mishtatif with the tainus. It says they shouldn't go ahead.
Or eat less. I don't have a big
So it says, Allah says a person who's allowed to eat, you should eat just bread and water. So we're not machmer that much, especially for kids. I know my kids, I tell them that are tiny, don't eat no sugar cereals. You should never eat it, but at least on the tiny, kids aren't fasting, but it doesn't mean that you go ahead and eat whatever you want.
Be aware.
You should be aware that's a fast. So something says maybe basta, you shouldn't go have a big suda with meat and wine. You have to eat. You just eat what you have to eat. Don't go ahead and make a whole suda for on the day of a tainus.
If you can't fast on that day for health purposes, you have to make it up.
No, so you don't have to make it up.
You don't.
No. So that's halacha on the tainus. The question is the night before. The night before also. Is it in the night before that you're right? We're not fasting because it's too hard for us to fast 24 hours. So we eat the night before, but still tainus. So is that different than a person who's eating on the Yom HaTainus itself? A person who's eating on the Yom HaTainus itself says you should not go ahead and splurge and eat whatever he wants. So maybe the same thing over here. The night before the Tainus, even though we eat, but take it easy. Don't make a big make a big party and invite all your friends and have a big party the night before Asar B'Teves, Wednesday night this year. Why? Because it is still part of the Tainus. The night before is still part of the Tainus. Rather we don't eat and we don't drink. Rather we eat and we drink. We run a couple of parts not to eat and to drink. That's one thing. And then there's the whole shaila about rechitza on the Tainus. Rechitza also is not awesome. On Tisha B'Av, we will call upon ourselves not to wash. Rechitza, sicha, these things we will call upon ourselves not to do. How about on the other Tanaisim, we were mekabel. But the Achayim bring down already that Baal Nefesh Yachmar al Atzmai. A Baal Nefesh will machmar himself not to do rechitza even on the regular 4 times. Tashmish is also awesome. Right, and that's a raya they bring. That's a raya they bring that even the night before it's a problem. Because it says you should be machmir on these tiny sin, on the other things also, rechitza, nila, and tashmish amita. That's only at night. So you see, even the night before, you should be machmir on all these Baal Nefesh. Everyone should, that's the shiloh. If a person needs a shower every single day, okay, that's the old shiloh. How far we go. But I saw the person can bring down swimming, these type of things, which is extras. You should make sure you don't do one the night before the times.
So this year is a big problem. It's New Year's night.
Right.
Yeah.
People are going to be
yeah, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
This year.
Wednesday night is New Year's.
Yeah, but son, what do you do New Year's?
Well, some people have celebrate.
So some people who have New Year's parties, right? So besides the fact that every year it's a problem, every year they should do it, but on a year like this year, which falls out the night before Asar B'Teves, definitely shouldn't be done. Definitely, if it is to get together and have the chicken wings, whatever the mitzvah is, whatever the mitzvah is on New Year's Eve to do. No, that's by the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Like I mixed up with the holidays.
Get your holidays straight.
Get your holidays wrong. But whatever it is to get together the night before for a New Year's party, it's not something that should be done on Asar B'Teves. Every year I'm not going to get involved in that. That's for the rabbis. That's what the rabbis are getting involved in. Yeah. But Asar B'Teves, definitely it shouldn't be done because the night before is still part of the Tainus. Should be done for the next year. There shouldn't be a Tainus. It should be with Mashiach.